This is the 179th Taiku in the Babylonian Talmud. A Taiku is an unresolved or an unanswered question in the Babylonian Talmud, and the tradition is that these unanswered questions are answered only at the end of time with the coming of Messiah, and Elijah the prophet answers these questions. And these Taikus, these unresolved questions, were put into a book called Taiku that was written by a rabbi, I believe, from Ramat Beit Shemesh by the name of Rabbi Aharon Yehoshua Pessin. And he compiled all these Taikus and put them into one book. And that's the book that I'm using to make these videos. And according to that book, this Taiku here is the 179th Taiku. I started from the beginning, from the first one, in Tractate Brachot, page 8a, the bottom of the page, and went systematically, day by day, each one per day. So that means from June 20th until now is 179 days. It'd have to be. So this is the 179th Taiku, and it appears in Tractate Bava, page 149a. Actually, the last words are on 148b, the words Iboilahu, which means a series of dilemmas are raised before the sages. And now we're on the top of 149a. Yehane bahen mahi dinehebe kuluhu metana kamar odilma nishari menaymi de kamar iremahu Yamud behen mahu, yishavad behen mahu teko. If a person on his deathbed says, so and so shall benefit from my property, what is the halacha? Is he saying that all of the property should be a gift? Or perhaps he is saying that the recipient shall derive some benefit from the property? Oh, okay, I guess what they're saying is he uses those exact words. This person should benefit from my property. Let's just say someone was on their deathbed and they said so-and-so should benefit from my property, being that vague, that general. So what are they saying? Are they saying that, is he gifting that person this property? Or is that person saying that the recipient shall derive some benefit from the property, but not all of it? If he says, so-and-so shall be seen in my property, that's even more vague. So-and-so shall be seen in my property, and then he dies. What's halacha? What does it mean? If he says, so-and-so shall stand in my property, what's the halacha? And if he says, so-and-so shall rely on my property, what's the halacha? If he uses all these vague terms, what do we give that person legally? What is that person entitled to legally if this person either writes that in his will? So that's a really interesting question. To be honest, I don't know if it ever happened in the history of human beings, to be honest. It's never happened. Many of these things I think never happened. And the reason why I think they never happened is that if a person says, if he writes it in his will, let me ask you, what do you think? Do you think this ever happened? Do you think this is ever inclined to happen? When I come across these questions, it just doesn't seem like they ever happen or would be inclined to happen. And someone told me that, I've heard it more than once, that these questions are not necessarily practically going to ever come up. They're not meant to be practical. They're meant to stretch the limits of how far halacha can go. I mean, what's the answer? We want to know if it would happen. What's the answer? It's not even. It's more of a moot point. It's more of a. It's just academic. So I think today, if a person said they shall derive benefit, you know what? I really don't know. I don't know what they would do today. Have to be a good question to ask a lawyer. What happens if a person on their deathbed says, so-and-so shall derive benefit from my property? and then dies. What do? We know what he said. We have witnesses. He could have even written it on his will. But what do we do? How do we interpret that? What does it mean? That's a really good question. Some of these taikus, to be honest with you, some of these taikus I've answered myself. I mean, an answer that would be satisfactory for me. I don't know if it would really jive with halacha. I don't know. But some of these taikus, some of them, I don't see even why they're taiku. Unless back in those times it was much different, circumstances were different, I would be inclined to think that is the case. But this here, this series of questions makes up the 179th Taiku. Just an interesting gematria, incidentally. The gematria of the word v'nahapachu, like we say in the Megillah, it's written in the Megillah, Book of Esther. It says v'nahapachu, and it's a song, and we say it in Purim time, and that's kind of a thematic thing. Which means, and it became reversed. It flipped around. It spun around. It turned around. V'nahapachu equals 179. That's why that reminded me of that number. But 179 is exactly half of the numerical value of the word Mashiach. Mashiach is 178. I'm sorry, it's 358. 358 is Mashiach, so 179 plus 179 is 358, right? Let me check it here. Make sure. 179 times 2, 358. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so the idea of Mashiach is things get flipped around. But things get turned around, yes, but then you have to flip them back again the right way. You might spin it around and things look backwards, but you have to put it in the right context and make it go forwards again. But at any rate, that's just a side bonus idea. But this is the 179th Taiku, to which we must wait for the Messiah and Elijah the prophet. May it be soon in our day. Happy Hanukkah.